What's going on, guys? If you guys thinking about joining OCS or just curious on how the process is like, then you came to the right place. I graduated DCO last year, so I know the inside scoop on a lot of things. So I'm gonna do a week by week breakdown. Some things might have changed, but the bulk of it's still gonna be pretty much the same curriculum. Just maybe the weeks might be switched around. So let's get to it. So you'll start in HSC, which is where you'll stay until your company class begins. So the companies are divided into 5 parts. You got Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and also Echo. Echo is direct commissioning, so you may not see them as often. How long you'll be in HSC, it can vary. So it can be from a couple days, a couple weeks, and in some cases you can be there for a couple months. You'll know when you get there how long you'll be in HSC, so don't even stress about that. So during this time, you'll get everything that you're missing from your packing list, so you'll have opportunities to go to the PX. So take care of your business, get your pins, your insignias, and so forth. Also, since things kind of start moving fast in black phase, which I'll get into a little bit later, take the time, if you have like the extended time agency, like a couple weeks or even a couple months, go to TMC to take care of all your profile, get all your medical documents taken care of, and also your pay if you do have future issues. So just kind of handle that beforehand, so it'll be good peace of mind when you start. At this time, remember I said black phase, you'll currently be in gold phase. So gold phase, you'll have gold pins on your PC and one on your insignia. You can get a blank one or OCS one. It'll work perfectly fine. It won't be a big deal. So this is where you'll start getting used to the OCS customs, like marching to the DFAC, because you're not going to be walking to the DFAC by yourself with a battle. You're going to have to walk in group company formation to the DFAC. You'll start doing the OCS alma mater, which you're going to say a lot of times, so don't stress too much about not knowing it. You're going to say it a lot. You're going to memorize it. Don't even stress about that. And things going to start moving a little quickly as the days goes on. So you're going to start a thing called the phase up. Phase up is pretty much going to be like a strong team building exercises where you're going to do every exercise from medevac, running, carrying water jugs, rope climbing, basically getting smoked in between every single exercise. Then you'll get your black ascot, and then you'll be officially in black phase. So week 1 is mainly just admin stuff. You know how that goes. Make sure you pay good, which it may not be good. Getting your laptops. Side note, make sure your CAT card is good, because you don't want that problem once history comes around and you can't access your laptop. Trust me, I know this firsthand. You do not want this issue. This part right here is very overlooked from a lot of people. Understand the company culture when you get there, because each company has their own identity. You know, some can be more strict, some can be more physically strenuous, and some can be more lax. So depending on what environment you're going to in is going to dictate how your OCS experience is going to be. I can tell you that 100%. Like, for example, when I was in DCO, I used to see ACO or Alpha Company double time everywhere. They could be double timing from the footprint all the way to the DFAC, from the classroom all the way to the footprint, and it's running everywhere. As opposed to us, when I was in DCO, when you leave the DFAC, you'll just run to the classroom and get in formation. It wasn't that bad of a run. So it's going to vary. They're going to say it's company dependent, because everybody has their own protocol in what's the OC? Was it OCP? What's not OCP? ISAP? Yeah, and different ISAPs. Also as well too, you'll also get assigned garrison leadership roles. So the most prominent ones are the top 3. So you got the first sergeant, company commander, and XO. Those are weighted a little bit higher than the standard of garrison leadership roles, like platoon sergeant, PL. I don't remember if squad leader was graded, but I think so, but don't quote me on that. But I know platoon sergeant, PL is graded assignments. So if you want to get like, and then it's going to be company dependent on if they automatically put you in those top 3 roles or it's volunteer based. I know we were volunteer based for DCO, but that might change depending on what company you're in, or depending on the company commander. They might do things a little differently. So if you are trying to be competitive in OML, getting that top 3 position does help, far as like this being in the rank 5th to 10th and getting the actual branch that you actually want, your number 1 choice. So be cognizant of that. And additionally, this will be the time where you do HCFT. This one is not going to count towards your OML. This is kind of like a 1-1 where you kind of evaluate where you stand at. And don't even stress too much about it unless you're completely out of shape, because you're going to have a lot of time to do a lot of conditioning while you're doing it. So, and also you got a 4-mile run, which will be, I'll explain a little bit later. So week 2, bro, that's the brutal week right there, man. That is military history week, man. It's going to be a very long day. Be ready for that. PT's gonna be super early in the morning. And depending on what company you are, as soon as you finish PT, you might have like 15 minutes to get ready. You might have 30 minutes to get ready. Like, I'm talking about like from running all the way up to your room, showering, changing, putting your OCPs on, coming right back down formation to go to DFAC. It can vary. It can be 15, 35 minutes. And if you got like 3 roommates and you trying to delegate who's gonna be in the shower, you gotta take quick shower, bro. It's a lot going on. Make sure you have everything ready the night before. Like, if you miss some and you go to that classroom, you miss something, it's gonna be an issue, spot report. You don't want that problem. So you'll start class like around like 8:30. The first 2 days of history, class gonna be like 6 hours, dog. Like 6 or 5 hours. You gonna have 2 professors in there. You gonna have, I think, with like Dr. Campbell, and I think his name like Dr. Van or something like that. It's Dr. Van Noy or something. They cool. They'll give you whatever you need to succeed, you know what I'm saying? But don't mess around. Like, if you don't participate, you don't do none of the readings or none, they gonna call you out. They gonna call the whole class out. And then they'll skip a lot of the answers and stuff, and they not gonna go back. They'll have a little attitude. They'll talk mess, make you look like you dumb. Like, it can get very like demeaning in there. Trust me. Like, you don't, man, make sure you on top of everything. Write everything down. If it's in red on the slides, write it down. If Dr. Campbell, I think he's still there. If you go there and do the little stump, you're gonna do like the little, write whatever he say down and write it verbatim. Don't summarize it. Especially if you in the if you doing like the written exam, write that shit down verbatim, dog. Cause you're gonna have to write it verbatim when the test begins. Multiple choice, which we did, is not as bad, but you still need to study, be on top of stuff. And also, depending on your company, you may have very limited time to kind of retain all the information, because you're gonna do history from all the way from 1775 all the way to, I think, 9/11. That's a lot of wars, because we are a very combative country. So it's gonna be a lot of information. Like, it's gonna be a lot. And then balancing everything else, it's gonna be a lot. So that's gonna be the biggest thing in week 2. Be on top of that history, and then just doing other little tedious class, but that's not really nothing too serious. Like, you know. Week 3 is the history test. So this gonna be tough, so depending on if you're doing the multiple choice or the written exam. But either way, you're gonna have to be studying, group studying, or looking at the study group from your Google Drive. Hopefully your company did that, where everybody write their little notes in, and then you kind of study on your own. Also, I believe, if I don't know top of my head, you will be doing a 4-mile run, so you gotta do everything under 36 minutes. And I think you'll be rucking too. I think you either ruck week 2 or do the 4-mile in week 2 and ruck week 3. I don't remember, it's one of those 2 cases. So you'll do like a 6-mile ruck, which makes it even tough, because I think you do the ruck. I think you do the ruck or the 4-mile run, and then you take the exam. It's one of those 2 situations. I don't remember top of my head, but it's one of those ones. So you're gonna be pretty exhausted taking those exams. So get your mind right, make sure you focus, and then you don't get your test scores immediately. So it's gonna be about a week. So you're gonna be stressing, especially if you feel like you did iffy on it. Then you're gonna be having your note cards around. You kind of like looking. You mean formation, have your note card, look at, revise it, make sure that you don't fully forget a lot of information. I think at this time too, you'll do a call for fire exam as well. That's pretty easy, so that's not really stressed about. But mainly, it's gonna be just locking in for the history exam. And if you are very bad at long distance running, getting your mind right for that 4-mile run, because people do actually no go on this and get recycled. So be cognizant don't sleep on that 4-mile run as well too. So week 4 is land nav. So I was pretty hyped about this because I originally got injured and recycled due to land nav in Seco. So I was ready to take on the challenge. The past, I got other videos talking about that. So like I said, every company is different. Like I said, company dependent. So in Seco, you only had 3 opportunities of practice. So you had a cadre lead in the day, then you went straight to buddy team at night, and buddy team at day, then you go straight into pre-qual at night. In Deco, when we did it, we had cadre lead during the day, cadre lead at night, buddy team during the day, and buddy team at the night, and then pre-qual during the day. So you got a lot of time to kind of get the gist. That's kind of where I learned how to dead reckon. I had that practice with the buddy teams and also cadre, so I felt more comfortable doing that. So just practice different things while you're with the group, so it makes it easier. And also, fun fact, if you suck at land nav, this is a bad habit people do. Don't follow everybody. If you off, just be off on your own. Like this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes what you do is you'll plot your point wrong and you'll follow other people. They'll stop at one point either before the landmark or whatever you're trying to go to, and then you have a false confidence that you did it right, even though you had plotted stuff wrong. When they're not there, you gonna be at SOL. So just make sure you kind of learn how to plot precisely, and also trust your plotting, and also how your landmarks and stuff, and your pace count. Pretty much you'll need to get 4 out of 7 to pass. If you're aiming to get a high old male score, shoot for that 7 for 7. That'd be good. And in my situation with land nav, not too many people fail. I think one person got double no-go, so it's a pretty high, a low recycle rate, but it is very challenging. Red diamond is not an easy land nav, of course. A lot of walk-in. Make sure you hydrate, stay nutrition, and make sure that you're nourished and stuff. So it's a lot of walking. You can pass out and have serious heat cat issues. Also, this will be the same time where you'll get your history test back. So your heart attack will come back, you know what I'm saying? So you'll be studying probably on the field if you already passed land nav, because you'll take that test that following week. So you have that whole entire weekend to kind of get it together. Unless you double no-go, you double no-go and you got to do one last test, you'll probably do it on that Friday, but you still have time to kind of study to take that retest if you did fail both the land nav and also the history as well. Week 5 is a bit of a break from, all the intense stuff. So unless you have to retake the history, which kind of still be stressful, you do the Bolton obstacle course and the Branching Fair. So the obstacle course is kind of like a lower tier phase up, like kind of same stuff, but kind of more different activities, like the balance beam, kind of some stuff that you may have did basic training, or you've seen it on the videos, climbing like the walls and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's pretty fun, unless you unathletic or scared of heights and stuff, then maybe a little scary. But have your squad, if you have good rapport with them, have them help you out, teamwork. You want to make sure everybody kind of get through. You don't want to have nobody fail Bolton obstacle course, so you don't want to have that issue. Also, you'll be doing, I believe, the 8-mile ruck, so that's another physically strenuous stuff, so make sure you got your mind right for that. And then also you'll practice weapon dismantling and reassembling, like the 240s, the saw, and the M4. So a lot of this stuff is like team camaraderie, like type week, kind of building that bond, and also working in team environment. So not a bad week. So unless you fail history, then you get recycled, then that'll be a pretty bad week, you know what I'm saying? So, but other than that, week 5 is pretty chill. In week 6, we phased up to blue. We did it a week early, so that's good for us, because that's when you go from the black ascots to the blue, which is great because you'll have more freedom, more privileges, and it's not as strict as when you was in blackface. However, if you guys get in trouble, you can always get demoted back to blackface at any point in time. So just be cognizant of that. It is a privilege to be in blueface. So during this time frame, this is kind of where you start prepping for stick lanes. So you'll learn how to brief and create your op orders. Also, in some cases, you'll learn how to do like formations, like overbound or bound formations, do bounding drills, and a whole bunch of other stuff. A lot of this stuff sounds intimidating, but with the op order part, depending on your cadre, unless they real petty, you'll get a template to fill in. They'll make everything comprehensive so you guys understand how to sketch your maps and all that great stuff. So you'll get a warno. How stuff kind of works is a great assignment. You'll get a warno. The prep for your op order, you'll write out your op order. Once you finish under a certain time frame, they'll take your op order from you, place it somewhere secure, and then you'll go to a cadre at a certain particular time. They'll pull out that op order, and then you'll brief it to them. They'll ask you a bunch of questions, and how you answer it is going to be a pass-fail or retrain. So it's not really that big of a deal. So just be cognizant. Just pay attention to the attention to details and stuff. During this time too, this is when you'll do the official ACFT. What I mean by official ACFT is when it's actually on the count towards your old mail. So be able to do your thing, because if you really one of those people that's trying to get branch really high, make sure you're on point about this. This also overlooked thing, the peer evaluation is kind of company dependent how they kind of enforces it. So peer evaluation is kind of how it sounds. Your squad rates you from best to worst. If you're worse, you get a spot report. 3 spot reports, you get recommended for recycled. So you get 3 evaluations. So if you're at the bottom tier, each time you get recycled. And I hate that to happen to you when on week 11 and you got your 3rd spot report and then you out of there. That's kind of sad. You got to start all the way back over, or at a certain point. You don't want that to happen. So just be mindful with your squad. Be good. Have good rapport. You don't have to be kiss ass with them, but just kind of be there and present, and be participating and stuff. So you'll be straight on that. So stick lane is both week 7 and week 8. It's pretty intense for the most part, especially at the beginning. You'll go through different leaderships: Alpha team leader, Bravo team leader, and squad leader. Squad leader is the most heavily weighted one, where you have it's to be on actual grading scale, where it's 100, 90, 80, and so forth. And Alpha and Bravo team leader are just pass and fail. So long as you're just doing what you're doing, what the squad leader suggests, and doing your role, you should be good. Just follow the rubric, because the cadre, they're pretty wishy-washy on how they grade stuff. So long as you follow that, you should be good for the most part. Just stay sharp in your whole group. Typically, if you're on the back end of iterations, so how it works is, say if you got a squad of 10 people, you're going to do 10 iterations. You're going to go through each lane doing the same exact one. So it can get very mundane, especially if the people that already did their leadership roles already completed it, so they might be slacking off. So just try to stay on top of them if you haven't started your squad leader positions yet, because one person ended up being got committed fratricide because they were being lackadaisical on a classmate they typically didn't have rapport with, and they wasn't on top of them. So just be mindful of that. And also, if you being lackadaisical and you get someone to fail in our in the stick lane scenario, we're gonna have to do that whole entire stick lane over. So it's not like you just sitting them with the other people that fail. You're gonna have to redo that whole entire iteration, and I don't want to have to do that. I want to kind of just chill and relax. So that's pretty much gonna be week 7, 8 for the most part. So nothing too special. And then for most people, this is when you'll phase up to the blue phase. Week 9, like I say, you have a couple of classes. It's not really hard stuff. You'll have your branching ceremony, which is probably the most important highlight of week 9, where you actually will find out what branch you're in, depending on how you perform on the OML, which is also pretty exciting. So you'll get called up based on your rankings. Pick the branch based on the slots that are available. For the most part, people typically got their top 3 branch choices. I don't remember anybody that didn't, unless you was like at the bottom for some reason. Also, you'll have a branching ceremony where you'll see like all the top ranking officials, like the brigade commander, battalion commander, and so forth. Y'all celebrate, have a good time. I think also too, you'll have the 12-mile ruck too during week 9. I don't remember, but I think that might be the same case. So don't get too lit or anything like that. So you got that 12-mile ruck, is kind of brutal, especially if you like, a little inebriated, you know what I'm saying? So 10 is pretty smooth than other weeks. However, this is the week where a lot of people kind of get in trouble, because you got so much freedom. And, some people are pretty fresh to, blue phase and stuff. So be mindful, because that's where casually kind of start being ticky-tacky on certain things. Because one person got recycled for drinking like an energy drink and got recycled. So that's because you make it through all the hard stuff. People still watching you. During this time, you'll do LRC, which is pretty much the leadership reaction course, which is pretty fun. I got a video on that. Y'all can check that out. So it's pretty much testing like your leadership, working with the team under like intense conditions. So it's pretty fun. I think this is when you do the 12-mile run in this pace. I think it was either week 10 or 9. I don't remember. It's one of those paces. But those are pretty much going to be the highlights of week 10. And then you'll still do a lot of little quizzes and stuff. But the quizzes are pretty easy. So I wouldn't really stress about those quizzes unless you like not showing up to nothing or you not paying attention at all. But it's pretty easy A's to get. Week 11 is pretty much this processing out. So you're turning all your gear, get your DD-214s, and you'll visit the I think it's the Andersonville POW camp. So you'll walk around, you'll understand about like the history of that. You'll brief a little bit about like certain history monuments and stuff. It's a pretty chill week before graduation. This is when you start prepping for like the social. And okay, finally is week 12. This is when you turn in your laptop, you clean out your barracks, you have your formal. The formal is real active. You're gonna have a great time, unless like you don't like nobody or you don't like whatever. I don't really care, but you're gonna have a great time. Just make sure you don't get too much trouble, because you're still under evaluation, so don't do nothing too crazy, and then you'll finally start crossing that stage, and then you'll be officially a first lieutenant commissioned officer. So it'll be a moment that you'll never get. You'll have a great time. So let me know what you guys think on the breakdown, and be prepared for a lot of turmoil, a lot of stress, a lot of headaches. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be very satisfying, you guys, once you commission through. So hit the subscribe button, and I'm out. Gone.